this story right now um, is about what started. I'm going to say what started the Ukraine war, which was 4, 5 straight years of RussiaGate. People were told, bombarded with propaganda on a daily basis from every corporate news media outlet, that Russia committed a coup on our country, that Russia overthrew our government, that Donald Trump is an illegitimate president and he's a traitor to our country, working against our own country with Russia. That's what we were told. And it all came from the Hillary Clinton campaign. And here it is. And now we're finding out. Now, we knew they lied about it. So the big thing was the dossier, right? So the Hillary Clinton campaign hired a group called Fusion GPS. And Fusion GPS hired a spy from England, Richard Steele, and he put together the dossier. Now, what happened was so that's called opposition research. So this guy collects all the dirt he can find on Donald Trump, puts it in a dossier, sends it to the Clinton campaign. The Clinton campaign was asked if they paid for that, because that would make it opposition research. They said no. They lied for a year that they paid for that dossier, which started the RussiaGate investigation, which started all of this. And it was all made up. And now they're being held account a little bit for it. So here's the headline. The FEC, Federal Elections Commission, fines Hillary Clinton campaign and the DNC for improperly disclosing money spent on the Trump-Russia dossier. And this is from March 30th. The Federal Elections Commission, earlier this month, fined Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign and the Democratic National Committee for failing to properly report funding on opposition research into the 2017 Steele dossier, which examined former President Donald Trump's alleged links to Russia, none which have been proven. In a letter sent by the FEC to both parties on Tuesday, the agency said that the Clinton campaign, and the DNC improperly reported the money they spent funding the dossier, labeling the spending as legal services and legal and compliance consulting instead of opposition research. The FEC fined the Clinton campaign $8,000 and the DNC $105,000 for the misconduct. Clinton's campaign is still technically in operation. Didn't know that. With more than $181,000 in cash on hand. That's more than enough to pay the FEC fine. A source familiar with the situation told Axios that the FEC commissioners voted 4-2 to approve the fine agreement, with all 3 FEC Democrats voting in favor, along with Republican Commissioner Sean Cooksey. The board's 2 other Republicans reportedly voted against the conciliation. The infamous dossier in question was prepared by former UK intelligence officer Christopher Steele and included a trove of prurient but unverified claims regarding the alleged relationship between Trump and members of the Russian intelligence community, as well as assertions that his campaign colluded with the Kremlin in the 2016 election. While a few allegations were corroborated, which insider Sanad Seth broke down, much of the information within the document has since been refuted or debunked or proven to be complete bullshit. So the dossier is bullshit. Steele has said that he was still investigating and his research was not meant for public viewing, but his memos were leaked just weeks before Trump took office in January 2017. I wonder why someone would do that. Would someone in the intelligence community leak that in order to get an upper hand on Donald Trump? The Clinton campaign and the DNC paid more than $1 million to the law firm Perkins Coie, so that's Hillary Clinton's campaign's lawyer. And then they hired a group called Fusion GPS, and then to do opposition research for them. So Clinton's lawyer paid this group to go do some opposition research, get some dirt on Donald Trump. And then this Fusion hired Steele, and he created the dossier. So now you know the lineage. The Clinton campaign and the DNC did not admit to violating campaign finance laws, according to the FEC letter. However, they did agree to accept the civil fines to settle the matter. So they're doing one of those things where I'm not going to admit my wrongdoing, but I will pay the penalty. And apparently, the FEC is letting them do that. And so I think that's why it passed 4-2 instead of 6-0, because those two Republicans don't want to let them off the hook. They want them to have to admit they fucking lied. Hillary Clinton lies to the FEC and disguises payments for the debunked Trump dossier, collusion Steele dossier, and this is how the New York Times headlines it. Democrats agree to pay $113,000 over campaign spending inquiry. That's their headline. So that's propaganda coming right from the New York Times. Instead of telling you what actually happened, they're using watered down, wishy-washy language so you don't know what actually happened. The FEC has fined the DNC in 2016 for funding the fund. Just to remember of the frauds in the media who amplified these lies. You want to see the frauds who amplified this?
It may be dirty, but it ain't fake.
Is there anything in the dossier that has been disproven?
No. I guess the short answer to the question.
Has anything been soundly
That's a short answer.
About the
What's the long answer?
Steele dossier? And I would agree with Jim Clapper. I haven't seen anything
because a lot of these facts have not been disproven.
It's not been corroborated.
So you don't have to disprove a fact. You have to prove the evidence of the fact you're asserting. You can't prove a negative. So that's, again, these are horrible news people.
But it hasn't been disproven either.
The dossier, in fact, is far from bogus.
The dossier is far from bogus. This portion of the dossier hasn't been publicly proven or definitively disproven. But obviously, were it proven true, it would pretty definitively establish extremely involved levels of collusion.
I'm still waiting for...
It's amazing. He goes, we don't have any evidence, but if we did have evidence, it would be amazing. Yeah, but you don't. Yeah, but it would be, and I'm still going to pretend like we have it. That's Chris Hayes. That's the character of Chris Hayes.
Innocent narrative to come out.
Some elements of the dossier have been verified.
None of them have.
So far have been publicly disproven.
They've all been
to date,
disproven.
None of it has been disproven. And whole big parts of it are holding up.
The dossier holds up well. None of it has been disproven, as you said.
It's a fact that none of it, not one word, has been disproven. In fact, a lot of it turned out to be right on the money.
Now, none of it. None of the salacious things that were in that were true. It was all made up, and Hillary Clinton lied about funding it for a year, and that's the price they have to pay. And you see how the New York Times reports it, so nobody will ever get in trouble. Here's one more. The P-tape is real. Critics claim Kremlin leak confirms everything awful. Every awful thing said about Trump ends up being absolutely true. And that was written by Travis Geddes. It was published in 2021. And it was at Raw Story.
Well,
so now you know why it's not hard to outdo these people. I'm high. I'm a comedian. I'm in my fucking, I have no training, and I can outdo these guys. That's because there's propagandists. That guy, Travis Geddes, is not a journalist. It's a guy looking for a paycheck, and I'll say whatever you want me to. He said that in 2021.
Raw Story bought Alternate. In case you're wondering what happened to Alternate.
I was wondering what happened to Alternate. I was. So Raw Story owns them now? Okay. Let's go back here. Jonathan Chait. This is from December 2017. The Steele dossier is looking more and more real. That's a front page New York Times guy.
Can you trust that? I mean, just look at that guy. You trust him?
I mean, this guy?
Yeah.
No. The Steele dossier is just one recent instance of the media presenting the public with information that originated in a vast, opaque industry of private spies and operatives for hire who inject the mainstream press by feeding tips and scoops to reporters. This is from the New Yorker, New York Magazine. New York Times veteran Barry Meyer says people who got it wrong are not really raising their heads over the parapet at this point saying, yeah, I got it wrong, and here's why I got it wrong. Barry Meyer, we as journalists need to reassess how we engage with hired spies and private operatives. No one went back and scrutinized Christopher Steele. No one went back and scrutinized Fusion GPS. It is our job. It's always been our job as journalists to scrutinize information, and that didn't happen here. I wonder why. It didn't happen with anything to do with Russiagate. You guys, or the Syrian war, or the Libyan war, or the Iraq war, or the Afghanistan war, or now Ukraine war. It's your job as journalists to scrutinize information, but you never do it, which is why I have a show with over 1 million subscribers, and you don't. I mean, the Steele dossier reporting was a travesty. That's in the New York Magazine. So I want to go back, Max. So now my producer grabbed this screenshot, and I see there's a lot of quotes happening here. Could this story really be the story I think he's saying? Is he still in 2021 confirming the dossier? Is that possible? What is this? I don't understand. I didn't read this story. I see the headline. There's no way. I see these weird fucking quotes everywhere. Like, is he trying to say the what is he doing here?
Well, anything's possible at Raw Story.
At Raw Story.
I mean, it's like the toilet bowl of the Democratic Party's communication machine. It's just absolute trash. I mean, it's real fake news.
It's 100. Well, let me call my producer and see what the hell this is about. Because this is 2021. There's no way he should not know.
Yeah, no, we need to be sure, even though anything's possible at Raw Story.
Because there would be nothing more embarrassing. First of all, this is a weird headline. The P-tape is real. Critics claim Kremlin leak confirms every awful thing about Trump ends up being absolutely true. That just sounds to me like he's going with it still, right?
They're trying to, implant the sense that it was all, that's what Blue Anon's culture is all about. Kind of a cult. It's like the more you get disproven, the more you double down. I mean,
that's a weird headline, right? Can you pull up that story stuff and start reading it? Yeah. Are you reading it, Misha? What? Yeah. So this is the story. It says leaked documents confirm the Russian President Vladimir Putin holds compromising blackmail leverage over Donald Trump, and that's why he personally directed Kremlin spy agencies to secretly work to get him elected president. This is from 2021? The Guardian obtained documents that experts believe came from the January 22, 2016 meeting of Russia's National Security Council that refers to certain events that took place during... Yeah,
so that was the Luke Harding story,
yeah.
I think. So, it's not just Raw Story. It's Luke Harding who's like the biggest fraud. Who, they've never taken down his phony story about Manafort, Julian Assange at the Ecuadorian embassy.
So they're repeating it credulously.
Yeah.
That's how. So thank you. So I was right. So it's horrible. Raw Story's horrible. This guy Travis Getty's is horrible. What a horrible thing. And 2021, you're still and they're using that Luke. Oh my God.
Yeah, I would like to see a poll today. Still believe that Russia got Trump. That the core tenets of the Steele dossier are true. I bet you a majority of registered Democrats believe that.
An overwhelming majority of the registered Democrats, I would say 80% of them at least.
This is the way they operate. It's like they'll report something false, planted by intelligence agencies or private spies that advance their agenda. And then when it's disproven, the damage has already been done. And any attempt to kind of retract takes place when pretty much no one's looking. A perfect example, David Corn and Michael Isikoff wrote a book basically based on the Steele dossier, yes. Russian roulette. And, after they sell the book and it becomes a bestseller and they do all their tours, David Corn tries to win his awards or whatever. Isikoff disowns it on MSNBC. And Corn whines, well, it wasn't up to me. It was after the Mueller report that, all just kind of fell flat. And David Corn said it wasn't Mueller's job to tell us the truth. So, I mean, that's what we're dealing with here.
That's what's yes. That's
Steele
so,
sources.
Talking to someone about Russiagate, who is a pro-Russiagate person, is like talking to someone who's pro-mandate. They never talk about the actual evidence or the facts. They just talk in circles.
Yeah, their reality is determined by a bunch of headlines.
Yeah.
They never read beyond the headlines.
Come see a live stand-up show or be in Orlando, Tampa, Cleveland, Columbus, Pittsburgh, Las Vegas, Omaha, Des Moines, everywhere. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for our live show tickets. Also, become a premium member, get access to all our extra stuff, and help support the show. See you at a live show. Single tickets now available. Single tickets available.